3, 2, 1.
Clap. Welcome to the Buckhouse Podcast, the #1 podcast in the world. Thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. Today I'm with my brother, Benjamin Buckhouse, and I'm Johnathan Buckhouse, and we have no topics for today, but that's a good thing because we've just been going on little tangents and talking about social media, video games, sports, snowboarding, all kinds of stuff. So, bro, how are we doing today?
I'm doing good. Yes, speaking of video games, this last weekend, Halo just finished up their London tournament. They went to HCS London, and just watching it and doing the stuff I do for work. I filmed some people playing some tournaments yesterday for trading cards, and bro, every bit of me just wants to compete right now. Like, I just want to I just want to dive into like Halo again, or I want to dive into like a new card game, and I just want to compete. And it's frustrating because I don't have the time for that, but it's the only thing I want to do.
Competing is fun, man. I not just in video games, but just in general, like the sense of competition, pushing yourself to be the best, winning. I mean, ego. We talked a lot about ego, but like being like, oh yeah, I got that. Like the couple Halo competitions that I've won in my career, like if I think back to those moments, and it was sick because I played team sports all throughout high school, but never got to win it because you got teammates, they let you down, or maybe you let them down, or it just doesn't work out because that other team was better than your team. But when it comes to like just Halo, sometimes there's team events that got let down, but in general, like when you can do like a free-for-all tournament, or you could do like a 2v2 where it's more on you. It's so fun to win and to beat others and be on top. I love it.
Yeah, there's some FFA tournaments, so free-for-all tournaments that happen on Monday nights. So I may start doing those. It's just like I'm trying to juggle a lot of things. I do a lot for my job, as in, for example, like I'm technically like Monday through Friday. I don't really have a schedule. It's kind of just work as needed, but for the most part, it's just Monday through Friday. And Saturday night, I went in to go film a sports card trade night that we do. And then Sunday morning, I literally was there to film these, it's called Flesh and Blood. It's one of the newer card games like Magic and stuff. And we have a pro team that we sponsor. They're going to nationals for this game here soon, and like a new set of the cards came out, so we had them like open the set early, and we like filmed them playing the set and stuff like that for content. And then now I just like start my regular week, so it's like I'm picking up random stuff here and there. I'm gonna leave for Dallas this weekend, so between that and then the podcast, and then on my own YouTube, and then I like kind of started doing more with my esports team I want to create. So I've got a Twitter for them, and I've just been like kind of posting a little bit, following some people, trying to get some traction. I'm balancing so many things right now. Like I just need to, like, competing is not something I can just throw in there, but I want to.
No, totally. The wants versus needs is always a hard. I run into sometimes where it's like, oh, I need to not go film a new video and just edit the 17 that I'm sitting on. But I know that there's a slow period coming and I can get those edits out. But I love going out and filming and like still making content. Like the act of creating or the act of competing like is the fun part, the part you want to do. And I've noticed, I learned this a while back with my channel, was like, oh no, like the office stuff is creeping in and starting to make it to where like you can't get on snow. And that's why I hired like Cody and people in the past, was because I was like, man, all this other stuff that needs to happen, I want it to happen, is encroaching on the #1 reason why I do what I do, and that's to go snowboarding. So it's a tough line, a weird balancing act for sure, and you'll figure it out, bro. I know you will.
Oh yeah, no, I'll figure it out. It's just like it's tough because it's priority #1 is my job, right? And that's how it should be for everybody. I mean, family, but it's like your priority, like you have to work to provide for your family, right? So it's like that does have some pretty high priority. Now I'd say your family still is like kind of above that, but it's like they go hand in hand, right? You have to have a job to provide for your family. So it's like priority number 1 is my job. Priority number 2 is probably this podcast right now. Just got to make sure we get that out for you guys, get all that content rolling. And then it's like priority number 3 is like, what do I want to do? It's like, I've got my YouTube stuff that I need to be working on, but I'm also like, my dream is to own an esports organization. So I'm like, do I kind of go all in on the esports and like competing a little bit and kind of like sponsoring myself to get the esports name out there a little bit? I'm not going to go and like win tournaments, but more so they'll see the name around because I'm like repping myself type of thing. So there's just a lot of decisions that need to be made. I just know I just need to keep working. That's all I need. That's what I need to do right now.
No, I get what you're saying. So like, for me, I got my brand, Buckhouse Industries. It's this Evolution logo behind me. And I want to turn that into a company eventually, like a snowboard company. Would be really rad. And I've played around with the ideas like too early of trying to sponsor people and didn't really do much, but I just kept snowboarding and making my content. And now there is a lot of brand awareness. And then with this wax company that I've been talking about, that is where I would then start considering legitimately sponsoring some bigger athletes or people that could also help build the brand and essentially build the team, like an esports team, essentially, people that are rocking Buckhouse wax and having the logo on their helmet, a part of the deal, things like that. So you want to build an esports team, but coming out of nowhere with no reputation, nothing, it's like, what does that even mean? You know what I'm saying? Unless you could like just do it start locally would be if I was to like think of like a way to do this, would like, why don't you just start locally and then with some small, people, and then as they get better, you could and use them for content and to build the brand and things like that.
So because I have competed and like I've talked with smaller esports orgs to kind of sponsor us before and things like that, I kind of know the structure. So sadly, I think that the strategy I would go into with, because I've seen success in it still, which is crazy because how small it is, but actually stick with Halo. Like that's my bread and butter. That's what I know. I have a small name in the community, but I have friends that have bigger names in the community, so I can kind of get some credibility through that. But what it would be is there's not really local stuff anymore, bro. There's really not many local stuff unless it's for a bigger game such as like CS:GO. That's kind of all I've really heard of local tournaments is like CS:GO. They don't really even do Call of Duty local tournaments or anything like that. It's crazy. They don't really do small tournaments anymore, which is sad. But for Halo, the community is small to where let's say I know that a team is like top 32 quality. I could try to sponsor them, but what it would be is I just pay for like their team pass, so that's like their ticket, right? Normally it's $300. So I would, front that ticket, provide them jerseys/shirts, and then what I could do now as I'm getting better with things is get graphics kind of like preemptively made of their results. So you can like plug and play it, so you can like change the numbers around and everything. But let's say in the first round they beat the people 2-0, like have that template ready, so that way it's like we beat Oxygen Esports 2-0 in round 1. You'll catch us on station number 4 for the next round or something like that, right? Posting that content to Twitter and it have like just a decorative design on it. So that's kind of one way of going about it. And then also before the tournament, asking them for like any of their footage, because I do know how to edit. So it's like if I get any of their gameplay footage, I can kind of have some hype trailers leading up to the tournament, stuff like that. It honestly isn't that difficult. It's just you have to be kind of paying attention and ready when they are at the tournament, so. Yeah.
I mean, I would say the thing with video games, and it's actually kind of stabilized, but back in the day, because I was very good at Halo 3 and Halo 2, but the game's always changing. You know, like I did do Halo Reach and won a couple Halo Reach competitions, but like that game changed so drastically from Halo 3 and then continued to change from Halo Reach to, what was it, Halo 4. And then, it's always no, there was they made Halo 1 again remastered, and then they competed in that for a little bit, and then they went back to Halo 5, and then now you have Infinite. But anyways, like, just even in the Call of Duties, the game's always changing, things are always changing, so that makes it a little frustrating and hard. And one person might have been great at one game and then just doesn't connect well or play well at the other one. And then it's such a flooded market too, so there's always new and up and coming. And then, you know, younger kids. I mean, I guess owning the organization is definitely the better move, opposed to trying to be the competitor. But I think, you know, being like, if you wanted to be a famous gamer, to anyone listening, if that's your dreams or aspirations, I would highly recommend going the content route and going the streaming route, where you could play any game, and even that's like incredibly hard, because if you look at like Ninja, he got boxed into this, like, he can only stream Fortnite, because if he streams anything else, no one watches. And like, imagine like being forced to play only one game. Like, I used to only play Halo and I loved it, but I think there's been some clips going around where Ninja's like super frustrated with the current Fortnite landscape, or they made some upgrades for a new season or whatever, and it's just not as good as it was the previous season, things like that. And he just gets so frustrated, and it's like, well, he can't go stream a different game because then no one's gonna watch, and if no one watches, he doesn't make any money, you know. So it's a tough world, man. Video gaming, I'm very happy because I at a certain point in my career, I did have a choice of like, am I gonna continue trying to compete with Halo and pursue it, which I mean, into what video gaming turned into, maybe that would have been a more lucrative route, or am I going to pursue snowboarding? And thankfully, out of the two that I pursued, I still created a living out of one of them. So I picked snowboarding, obviously, and now I snowboard for a living. But I don't know, looking at it in today's current, like the current right now, I'm happy I picked snowboarding for sure.
That you say that you would recommend content creation for video gaming, because I would say that that's a far more saturated market than becoming professional. Now, that doesn't mean that professional is any easier than content creation, but it's like, I personally feel like if you were to focus just on competing and trying to go pro in a sport such as Fortnite, Rocket League, something like that, there's far less variables. It's not like you're hoping to get lucky with this YouTube algorithm, or you're hoping that one day somebody just discovers you and it works out or whatever. Like, it's more so like, it's you versus you. It's like, are you putting in the time, effort, and energy and practicing to take yourself to the next level? Like, there's far less variable or exterior. I'm blanking on the scientific name, but basically, there's
intangibles.
Less variables, less tangibles. Just there's less things that can mess with you. Whereas if you were to want to go pro, like, it's you versus you, you know. Yeah, it may be a team sport.
At the same time, to get to that pro level is extremely hard, and there is some like natural talents or things that do come into play. Like, you can do your best to improve your reaction time, but someone just might have a more natural, God-given reaction time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like with basketball, like, you could want to be a professional basketball player, but man, you're only 6 foot, and those like 6'8" kids are just crushing you.
Bro,
you know, like,
I'm like kind of disappointed in what you're saying. Like, Darren Sproles, he was 5'6" in the NFL. You know,
yeah,
and then Michael Jordan was dropped from his high school team. Michael Jordan was dropped from his high school team, and he said, screw that, I'm going to work my butt off, and I'm going to go pro. And that's what he did. Kobe Bryant.
He's still very tall. No, hear me out. I'm saying, yes, you could give it your all, but in reality, because I've been snowboarding every single day, going out with intention, trying to get better. There is a legitimate cap to my snowboard. I will never flip 3 times. It's just not in me. That doesn't exist, you know? doesn't mean you can't find your lane in the professional sport or in the thing or whatever it is that lets you do it for a living. But there is a legitimate, like, I do think humans can only hit a certain level. Like, I'm not a God-gifted snowboarder. I am only good at snowboarding because of my hard work, because of my dedication, because of my relentlessness. But there are so many people that I've met that I've helped learn how to snowboard who are far better at snowboarding than me, and they've only been snowboarding for like 4 years because they just are they're just an athlete.
So I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, and I think that realistically, it's about the timing. As in, you took snowboarding kind of seriously when you were just outside of high school, whereas let's say somebody in our audience is like 8, 10, they have a lot better chance of learning to be athletic or like becoming more athletic in this particular sport at that age than you were at the age that you were kind of taking it seriously, you know?
No, totally. Like when you get started. So like, yeah, like I for me in video gaming, my window was when I was in high school and I could play 9 to 12 hours a day. And that's what I did and put all my energy into it. And I was extremely good. Then I became an adult and got jobs and I could only play 1 to 2 hours a day, maybe, you know, and then it was like, well, my skills greatly diminished. And so I was like, okay, it's time to put this away because the reality is like life caught up to me and I missed my window as well. So like catching your window, and yeah, like right now I am riding at a very high level and I'm doing really good. I'm also now 33 and like I go out and I do get better every time I go ride because now I've learned how to learn to get better, as weird as that sounds. Like there is a certain point where you're like, okay, if I want to improve, like I can show up with these intentions, with this mindset. I do these warm-up type things to get me into a flow state, and then when I'm in that flow state, now my variable of getting hurt is now diminished because my body is now clicking very well with my brain, and I can go and just chuck some stuff. And I figured out how to get into that flow state and to pursue like learning, opposed to when I just show up and first try like not warmed up and like get frustrated and like just not learn as smooth or fluid. Or I was working a job, so I'd show up to the mountain, I don't have 1 hour, 2 hours to ride, opposed to now I show up the whole day to kind of go through my process.
Yeah. I do just want to add one last thing. The other thing though is that you can be competing for a while, bro. I don't know if you know this guy, EcoSmith. You probably don't know his name as well, but he is one of the oldest competitors in Halo. He is 30 years old, and he literally won, not this last tournament that happened this last weekend, but the tournament before that. He won the whole thing. Like, he's 30 years old. He's the oldest person in the league, and yet he still is winning. And Call of Duty's oldest player, his name is Clayster. It's a huge name in Call of Duty, and he is 32, and his last tournament was just May 18th. So people are still competing. People still have reaction time. People can still go pro. Don't give up on your dreams. Own an esport organization.
I'm not saying you won't own one, bro. I believe in you. I just was saying, hey, maybe you could just buy FaZe Clan. They're going down, dude. Which didn't they make the finals of the Halo tournament? I can't believe they even still have esports teams.
FaZe won the tournament.
That's crazy.
I haven't been
help their stocks.
I haven't been paying attention to like the whole FaZe drama or anything like that. I never really paid attention to FaZe Clan. Although like I like their Halo team and their Halo team wins, so like I watched that, but then so I was like, Nick Merckx is kind of cool, and Nick Merckx is sponsored by FaZe Clan, but overall, like I don't know, FaZe Clan, when I think of FaZe Clan, I think of like early Call of Duty FaZe Clan where they were just doing trick shots with snipers and stuff, and I was just like, that's lame, and I just never cared for them. Like way back then, I was like, that's lame, and I just never watched them, and I never cared, and it kind of like that reputation stuck for me, so I've never really cared about FaZe Clan. That's just where I'm at with it. I don't know. Like it's kind of interesting.
No, I'm the same way. I was just shocked to see that they one, that they won it, but two, I saw that they were in the finals. So I was like, whoa. But when you think of a esports organization, I think of like FaZe Clan, 100 Thieves, whatever, Space Station Gaming. They're kind of just media companies for these video game athletes or players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like they're kind of like media company. Yeah, like they're content companies for them, but really like they do the hard work for it. But something that Call of Duty started doing, which I actually love this approach. I don't know how well it will do, but other companies have jumped into it as well. But the way Call of Duty does it is they associate a city with the team. So, for instance, Texas or Dallas is technically Optic Gaming. Like their headquarters in Dallas. When there's a Dallas tournament, it's the Optic tournament for Call of Duty. Like it's hosted by Optic, and it's their job and responsibility to run it and everything like that. So it's kind of like if you're in Dallas, like your home team is technically Optic, and then I don't know all of them, but it's like I think it's the Seattle Surge. I think it's the Surge. That's the name for Call of Duty. And yeah, they literally are like Seattle's team. So if there's a tournament in Seattle, they host it. I don't know where FaZe is. I think it's actually the Atlanta FaZe, and their logo is sick. I'll have it on the screen. But so yeah, if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, that's FaZe's tournament and stuff like that. So I like that approach. I think that adds a different dynamic to esports, as in it gives a person more of a reason to be their fan, kind of like a sports team, right? The Green Bay Packers, the Denver Broncos. It's like if you're in that area, or if you're in that city, or if that's your hometown, like you tend to like that team more, you know?
No, definitely. That is a great move to reach a broader audience for sure. But man, do I miss the days of just like rolling up to MLG Dallas and like there's just some new team called Believe the Hype, and they came out of nowhere and these kids just made it up, and I don't know, you had like Final Boss and like all these just rad names that weren't organizations, that were just a group of dudes that came up with it. I don't know.
So
it's different now.
I miss that too, bro, but the reality, like, so that can still happen for certain games. So Call of Duty, like I said, they don't really have like local tournaments, small tournaments, but also they don't have what's called an open bracket, and that's what you're referring to, as in like anybody can go and play. The current pro Call of Duty tournaments are invite only. Like you have to be qualified to the tournament, and you have to be invited by Call of Duty to go to the tournament. And so there's no like, it's called the Call of Duty League. They don't.
Yeah, it's a league now. It's not an open competition. Like,
yeah, it's
like
a league.
Back in the day when these things were starting and creating, it's cool. It's cool where it's gotten to, and this is like in a lot of ways the younger people that were doing these open competitions and things like that. Like, yeah, they like, this is like the vision. You know, there's legitimate teams and money, and you could become a legit professional video game player now because of these organizations, this structure, these state-based teams. But me being an old head and reflecting back, you know, it's like, dang, it was so fun back in the day too, though. It was just the Wild West.
People miss the old days, and like I've said this so many times, but I'll say it differently, bro. If you and I were twins, holy cow, things would be different. As in, because Johnathan was talking about this earlier with in the podcast, where he was saying like he would kind of with the free for all tournaments, it was just like he was his only teammate, so he could just rely on himself. And he said that he was kind of screwed over in some of the team aspects of the gaming as well. And what it was he was playing for Death Angels. This is some Buckhouse lore for everybody. Death Angels. That was their team name. That was their clan name. Death Angel 01, 02, 03. That was Johnathan was 01, Nick was 02, and then our brother Tyler was 03. And the O part is important because they were literal O's. But so it was you three, and then you would always have like a random fourth, and it was like Sergio or Chad or Andrew, right? You never had like a consistent fourth, yeah. And they were never like they were always the worst.
They were always the worst. They're never good enough, and they would always lose the games for us. It sounds horrible to say, but like I was the sniper, which is normally your lead. I can't even think of the lingo anymore.
So you got like your main slayer, you got your support.
Yeah, main slayer. Yeah, so I was always main slayer. Nick was second slayer. Then Tyler was always like main objective, like type dude. So essentially, if you would kill a whole team, and you'd like go grab the flag, like we'd send Tyler in because he was smart enough, or we'd send the fourth in because they just couldn't do anything. They couldn't slay. They couldn't. But then they would we set up on one side of the map. They'd run the other way. We're like, what are you doing? Like, just lose so many games for us. And so it was frustrating because me and Nick would end games with an objective game. Me and Nick would pull 50 kills collectively and so many assists, and then it's just what happened to the fourth who got 3 kills in a match, and you're just were you even playing the game?
So I love you, bro, and I know that you're probably gonna not disagree, but be I don't know, bro. But so what I'm getting at though is that my peak performance, as in when I was going to these tournaments and everything, at these tournaments, I've placed top 32, I've placed top 16 in the free for all, stuff like that. Other smaller tournaments, I've gotten top 8. So I would say I got pretty good at Halo, especially Halo Infinite. So it's what I'm trying to say is that if I was competing at my prime the same time that they were competing at their prime, I think that we could have gone pro. If it was us 3 brothers and Nick, we could have gone pro in Halo, no questions asked, because I think that I had that drive. I've always, ever since I was watching Halo with you guys when I was 8, I always wanted to go pro in it. Always wanted to go pro. So my drive was there for it. And I just didn't have any support. And so if I had you guys there, and if I was the same age, oh my goodness, we could have taken it. We could have took it to Ram, bro. We would have been, believe the hype, going and winning tournaments.
It's hard because once again, you could have been one of the most skilled Halo players. Me and Nick were so good at the game, but it's not just your individual skills; it's how good you are as a team. Because if a team could set up on a map and have people in the right direction, it's not you versus one other person. It's an entire team of 4 shooting directly at you and your spawn and things like that. So it really did matter to have incredible teamwork. And there's 3 pieces to our teamwork. We never had the 4th piece to the team. It'd be like a football team, and you have, the incredible wide receiver, the incredible running back, the incredible quarterback, no offensive line. It just doesn't work.
That's
if you
literally
don't have
the perfect analogy.
Piece.
That's literally the perfect analogy. Is you've got your quarterback, your running back, your receivers, they're all locked. But if you don't have that very important piece, that last piece, that's your offensive line, you're just donezo.
You're not a good team. You can't run any plays. You can't throw the football. Their running back can't dodge everyone on the line. So that's kind of where we were with our Halo career. And a big reason why I started pursuing an individual sport, which was snowboarding, and just kind of went more into, I achievement hunted for a very long time, which did still fit my video game fix, and allowed me to, my friends at the time also enjoyed getting achievements, so they would compete with me until I started obliterating them with Gamerscore, and then it wasn't fun anymore. And so then now I don't even play video games anymore. None of it's fun.
None of it's fun.
No, I guess the biggest reason why I stopped achievement getting was some achievements would just take hours and upon hours and upon hours of grinding, which back in the day I didn't care to do. But now my time is so important. I don't have 10 hours to grind out a single game.
I struggle, achievement hunting is difficult. So for those that don't know, achievement hunting is when a game is released, they'll be assigned a certain amount of achievements, as in goals or trophies that you can get for the game. Some of them are just as simple as complete the first mission, or complete the second mission, or beat the game on this difficulty, right? There's some that are very basic and simple and straight to the point. Other ones are quite literally secret achievements, or other ones are jump on this box on this day of the month, blah blah blah. Some are very weird and unique, and it's a genre of playing video games to do what's called achievement hunting, where your goal is just to go and get achievements. That's what Johnathan's saying. And what's difficult about achievement hunting is not every achievement is created equal, as in some achievements can take hours to get, and that's if you don't fail. So let's say you mess up and you have to restart. It could take days for you to get this achievement, and they're associated with not a currency, but like a value. So an easy achievement might be worth 10 points, and a hard achievement might be worth 100 points. But it's like they're not proportionally correct. An easy achievement where it's like turn on the game, 10 points, or spend days working on this, here's 100 points. Like they're not comparable, and it's it's so time consuming and not rewarding.
1,000 achievements. And every game has 1,000 achievements, or 1,000 points of achievements. Yeah, so like it was kind of like this. Like every game, no matter if you spend $60 on this game or you play this free game, you can get 1,000 worth of gamer score. And if you played Peppa Pig's Tea Party and did all of the achievements that take 5 minutes, you can get 1,000 gamer score, super duper easy, opposed to like playing Fallout 4 and doing all these super grindy things like completing every side mission for 50 gamer score, where in Peppa's Tea Party all you had to do was pour your first cup of tea and you got 100 gamer score. So there were some tricks to like really cranking out some gamer score. But when we were competing, when me and my friends would compete and stuff, we would call each other out if you played a really simple game for a bunch of gamer score.
You had a competition with Carlton, but what was it again? It was like whoever finished the year with the most gamer score did something. Yeah,
I don't remember what the prize was, but I mean, essentially the conversation was me, Carlton, and Jesse, and Carlton had more gamer score than me. It's all coming back together. He had more gamer score than me, like 20,000 more gamer score or something. And so at the beginning of the year, and he's like, "You'll never pass me in gamer score." And I was like, "What did you just say to me?" He's like, "You'll never get more gamer score than me. You'll always have less than me. There's no way I'll let you catch up." I passed him in like 6 months, dude. You can't something about me. I don't know. Like when within reason, especially if you're a good buddy, you challenge me like that. Like you just open the floodgates. I just go all out. And so I found the way. I passed Carlton, and I talked trash the entire way through it. And maybe it hurt our friendship a little bit. We've moved past that point in life, though. We're good now.
No, when Carlton would say stuff like that, it would always make me laugh. Like I love Carlton. Carlton's a great guy, but yeah, he would challenge Johnathan. It happened multiple occasions where Carlton would challenge Johnathan in some weird way, be like, "You'll never do this," or "You'll never do blah, blah, blah." And like, yeah, you would just like prove him wrong. It made me laugh every time. It's so funny. Shout out Carlton.
Proving people wrong is one of my favorite things to do in life, for sure. I mean, I've had so many people be like, when I had Roman, like, "Oh, say goodbye to snowboarding. Like, you're going to snowboard less than you ever have." And now I snowboard more than I've ever have in my entire life. Like, people telling me that, like, "Oh, you'll never get real sponsors." And I'm literally rocking an Insta360 hoodie, and I got Clue and working with other incredible brands. I've done brand deals with Burton Snowboards, which is the biggest in the industry. Like, it's funny. I love when someone says like, "You can't do this," and then you prove them wrong. Like it's the raddest.
Nothing drives me crazier than people that just like want to see other people not succeed. And it's not necessarily that they want to see you fail or blah, 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 whatever. They just don't want to see you succeed. But I think it's because they never succeeded or they failed. And so they're just sort of like, well, like no one else can do it, or like, don't try, you're not going to make it because I didn't. And it's like, yeah, you didn't. But that's why I will succeed, because I'm not you. Like,
I don't. A good example would be me not hitting the highest level of gaming, but I had some success, and then you saying like, "You want an esports organization, you want to compete," and I'm like, "Don't even try, bro. It ain't gonna happen, bro. I don't know why you're trying to waste your time, bro." Like, why would I say that to you? Like, I hope it happens. Like it didn't happen for me, so like I really hope it happens for you, because that would be sick.
I don't know. I was talking with my buddy about it, who's he's older than me. He's actually closer to Johnathan's age, but he is actually, like, the reason why I met him is because we teamed together. Like we literally like competed. We went to Kansas City together, things like that. And his story was he was closer to, like I said, Johnathan in age, but also just overall and story wise. He's from the Northeast. He's from where's he from? I want to say New York, but I think that's just where he was living at the time. Anyways, there's a lot more tournaments that happened up there than in Colorado, and so he had a lot more opportunity to go to MLG events and things like that. And so he did go to MLG events when he was growing up, and he did well in some FFAs, things like that. And then he joined the military, so he had like a hiatus for a little bit. But when he got out of the military, he's like, I want to play Halo again. So he kind of took a couple months off and just started like grinding Halo, and that's how we met. Kyle, shout out Kyle, great friend of mine. We talk all the time, and we were just talking yesterday about this, and I was like, I want to compete, and I'm not saying I'm out of my prime. Like I said, I'm 25, and there's a guy that's competing right now at the age of 30. Like, I could still do it. It would take a lot of time and effort and everything. I was like, but I just don't have, like, I've got different priorities right now, and it's tough because it's like, I can't just drop stuff. I can't just drop the podcast, right? We just got it up and running. This is episode 11. We didn't even say that, but yeah, this is episode. Bro. Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying though, it's like I've got all these priorities in my life that it's like there is a way to balance it all, but it's hard to balance it all and have like a happy marriage. And I'm not saying that my wife's stopping me, but it's just like I already have taken a lot of myself away from that, as in I am spending time working more and editing the podcast and things like that. So it's like I can't do a third thing that's like consuming my time. Otherwise, I would love to do that, but like no, I have to have a
realistically. To compete, you would really want to put like 8 hours a day into just the gaming aspect and the strategy and the learning and the clip review. At the level that it is at now, it needs to be a full-time job if you're trying to compete again or get back into it. So you 100%. Could just not sleep anymore.
That would be the alternative
option for you.
I'm getting on average like 6 to 7 hours.
On the note of achievement hunting, though, a fun development that happened when I was like, okay, I'm going to go all in on snowboarding. Vail Resorts dropped EpicMix, which was this trackable, it would track your pass, and you'd go to a ski resort and you could earn achievements. You'd get points for doing tasks, like just one showing up for the day, getting your first scan. If you did 10 runs, it's like, oh, there's another 10-point achievement for getting 10 runs. You know, if you hit a certain amount of vertical feet in a day, they'd give you a point. If you rode certain chairlifts or go up this chairlift to this chairlift to that chairlift, like that was like a special, unique achievement or pin. They call them pins, and you'd get a point value. Well, I saw that and I was like, dude, this is just like achievement getting. And so on days that I was like not feeling the terrain park, not really like wanting to ride park, I'd go hunt these pins at the ski resorts. Like they used to have like Conqueror pins, like ride every single chairlift at a ski resort in one day, which sounds easy if you live on the East Coast or the Midwest with like a little bit of lifts, but like at Vail Resorts or Beaver Creek, you know, they got like 16 different chairlifts on these massive resorts. So they were challenging, but I would go enough and get these pins enough that I was in the top 50. I think I was like 43 in the world for Epic pass holders and for this point system that they created, and it was incredible and super rad, and they've gotten rid of that now. Icon does a leaderboard now for just vertical feet, which is like super lame because train park riding doesn't do vertical feet, but it was really cool to be like one of the only park riders in the top 50 because I'd go do the point system, not the vertical feet, because vertical feet would get you a certain amount of points as well. So like I'd go ride train park 5 days out of the week, and then one day out of the week I'd go hunt pins and just crush people on this leaderboard, and it was really cool while it lasted.
I remember you grinding the EpicMix stuff, and I remember I would go up to the mountains and Johnathan would be like, all right, bro, it's Tuesday. We got to go ride the Ruby chairlift because that's the Ruby Tuesday pin and like stuff. You know, we were always like getting these pins.
It's funny because I would like use I would do my family day because you guys would come up and I'm like, okay, on the day that my family comes, because they don't really ride park. We're not going to really ride too much park. We'll go get these pins. And so, yeah, I'd make Sarah and Ben go get pins with me.
Well, no, it was fine. I remember, I don't remember the exact math, but I think, so it was like, you'd have to ride the A51 chairlift like 6 times opposed to somebody riding the gondola once to gain the same amount of vertical feet. It was something like that. You had to ride that Area 51 chairlift so many times just to get the equivalent to like one gondola run. And I remember you told me that like the number one epic person was actually a lady. She was an older skier, and she would just ride River Run, which is the main run for Keystone. And so she would just run River Run, go up the gondola, and then just do that all day. And she was getting massive vertical feet because it was one of the most efficient vertical feet lifts. And so that's also that she would do. And I was like, that's insane. And then here's Johnathan in A51 just trying to catch up to her.
Yeah, it was a good time. But like everything in this world, maybe someone got in there and was like, this competitiveness has got to go, and they got rid of it. They got rid of the pins because they were too hard. Then they like launched a bunch of super easy pins. And then like, it's just not what it was anymore. It's frustrating. Like change is, I hate to be, I'm not an advocate of preventing change, but because change is good. And learning to be someone that can accept change is very important, because the world is always changing. It's always going to change. Things are never going to stay the same. But man, because I feel it, especially in the snowboard industry, now that I've been doing it for 50, I just wrapped up my 15th winter. It is very hard to look at like Keystone's terrain park now versus what it used to be, or like some change, I won't say is bad. It's just like, the old head being like, man, it was way better back in the day. They are not wrong in a lot of times. Like,
so I'm not against change either. I think that you have to change to grow and to stay relevant and everything like that, right? Change is important. But what I don't like is genuinely, and we talked about this in, I think, episode 9, but it's like just how soft we're making kids nowadays, like by just protecting them in every way. And I'm not saying that, yeah, just let him go break his arm. But no, seriously, go let him break his arm. He's going to learn. Got it. Broke my arm. Don't do that again. Like,
don't just blindly send a feature in the terrain park, because I think the change, instead of like, oh, we need to dumb down our terrain park, is like, no, you can't buy a lift pass without watching this safety video.
Yeah. Like
that's the right change. It's not dumb down what's going on. It's ramp up your awareness, your safety. Like, there's so many different calls to action, but my biggest thing, I'm just going to use the ski industry as an example, is you have these people that are going into college and they're getting degrees in like business and resort management. Like, that's like the broadest, like the resort you're learning to run is like Disney World or like a spa, whatever. And then so you get these people that get these degrees, and then they go online on LinkedIn to find jobs to apply for, and they see like, oh, Breckenridge Ski Resort's hiring a chief whatever, like a manager for this resort. Okay. And so like, oh, I got the degree and the credentials and I can ski. Like, they're not skiers. They just can ski. They learned when they were little, whatever. So you have these people that have been able to get these insane high management positions at these ski resorts that can ski. They could go up and get down the mountain, but they aren't actually like rippers. They don't love the sport. They're not the soul of the industry, but now they're making all the decisions for the industry. So they're like, oh, this terrain park is costing us $3 million a year. Well, we want to be as profitable as we can. And like the terrain parks are like, let's just scale it down. Let's just make it smaller. Let's give them 5 features instead of 100 features. I don't see a problem with that. I don't go in there. And it's like, yeah, but everyone went in there that wasn't you, because you just don't actually ski or snowboard. You just can do it. But like, does that make sense?
No, it does. And it's, I don't know, there's like a whole can of worms that can go into that. I struggle with, like, I don't know how to say it, but it's like, yeah, it's people are given power when they shouldn't be. And then they like make such terrible decisions with it. And it's like, sure, they got the credentials. They went to college, yada, yada. I don't care. Like, so many people say this in the entrepreneurial world, where it's like, I would rather talk to somebody that has 4 years of experience rather than 4 years of a degree. Like, no, like, get somebody that actually knows how to run it, or get somebody that actually knows what the people want to run it, rather than somebody that did go to college for it. Like, honestly, I don't know. I don't have a lot of respect for college, so maybe I'm not the best person to talk to about that. I say that, but I'm also like,
it's not even,
college is also important. I don't know. I'm all over the place.
I mean, well, for me, it comes down to like, okay, you got to listen to the people that are in it. So like and what it comes down to is they don't respect the park manager or the park builder, the dude that was there for 8 years, and they're like, I've been building this Breckenridge train park for like the last 8 years. The new management person comes in and they're like, hey, this feature is too dangerous. And he's like, no, we built this feature every year for the last couple of years. They're like, I don't care. It needs to go. Like, or we don't want this jump line.
But Steve from Texas hurt himself on it. Steve from Texas hurt himself on it. So we need to get rid of this feature.
And so you have so what happened was you had these people get management positions, not respect the people that have been doing it, and so then all the people that were like doing it at these resorts have now quit. So like they're now like you go to Breckenridge and they have like 4 park crew on staff when they used to have like 30 park crew on staff, and the builders are gone. Now they're building more dangerous terrain parks because they're hiring this dude to build a park that's never built a park before, and it gets a little sketchy. And once again, it's all in the name of safety, but they're making their parks more unsafe. And it's so funny. They want the parks to be more inviting because they want it to be safer, and by making it more inviting, you once again now have made it more dangerous because there's more families and people that shouldn't be in there in the big side, because you're like, oh, I have a great idea. Let's put the beginner park riders and the advanced park riders in the same area. It's like, no, like back in the day at Keystone, the beginners had their own run for their own beginner features, and they kept the beginners from wandering over to 45-foot jumps. But now what's happening is you have the beginner jumps literally right next to the 45-foot jumps, and so then the beginners are like, oh, I'm just going to go over here, and then they get toasted. And you made it more dangerous by trying to make it more friendly, more safe. I don't know. It's definitely a can of worms that we could go down to, but it's dumb people making dumb decisions.
It really is crazy on how kind of dangerous a mountain is and how we just let people go on it. Dude,
I say this all the time. Dude. Skiing and snowboarding is the only sport where you could just go get a rental, you could go get a lift ticket, you could go up and go literally to a run that will kill you. Like, I'm not joking, like literally kill you from the top of a lift, and no one will question you, and no one will ask you, are you sure you're going here? No one showed you a video. You could literally just go out and immediately die.
I don't know if it's the only one, but it's like, no, seriously, it's like, because thinking about it, like the most dangerous experiences we've had in the terrain park, is literally like some dad skier. I'm calling you guys out because it literally is the skiers will let their like 2 kids, Timmy and Sammy, go through the terrain park, freaking pizzaing the whole time, and like they got their hands out because they don't know what they're doing, and they're just going through the terrain park, like cutting people off and going underneath jumps, not hitting the jumps, like where the landing is. Little Sammy is over there, and Jonathan's gonna hit that jump, and then there's Sammy, boom, she's dead, and like now Jonathan's getting in trouble. It's like, no, Sammy shouldn't have been in there. Like, it's so, dude, like the amount of people that could just do that.
I don't think that person or that group is the most dangerous on the mountain. It's frustrating. It might slow the park down, but you could always wait for them to get off the jumps. Obviously, sometimes you don't see them there, and yes, it's so dangerous. I think the dude that is like just above learning, like he's kind of it's finally clicked, and now he wants to jump and go fast, and he wants to play his music loud, and like drinks a little bit before he gets on the run. That's the most dangerous person on the mountain for sure. But the hard part is they associate any snowboarder that has skill with that dude, if that makes sense. Because normally that dude's hitting a side hit without looking uphill and smashing somebody, or once again, just snowboarding way too fast in an inappropriate area, trying to butter at the bottom of the run, and like out of controllably like runs into someone just standing there and stuff. It's just like, Oh no, it's definitely. I mean, I almost hit someone the other day. I posted on Instagram, and people were just laying into me like, "How dare you, Buckhouse? You're the worst person to ever walk on this planet," because this girl wandered into the landing zone of this. It was a side hit, but it wasn't like on a run. It was a side hit on the side of a mountain on an only spot where people were only going to hit jumps. And like, I had a spotter. Cody thought they were going to sit down. They ended up standing up and moving, and like, it was a whole shebang. But I don't know. It's just funny. There's always dangerous situations, dangerous moments, people making wrong decisions. The biggest thing is, let's have level heads. If a situation almost happens or does happen, just straight cursing somebody out and being all emotion is literally never the answer. Being just straight emotions.
So I don't know how you feel about this, but even in that situation, like, yeah, sure, some conversations may have quote unquote like needed to happen. I'm putting quotes around needed, like it not actually like absolute needed, but it's like, yeah, like, oh, sorry, my bad. Like, are you okay? Something, something along those lines. But what I don't understand is like, if something happens and it's like, it just happened, and then somebody wants to like make a big deal about it or talk about it or get mad about it. And it's like, it's already happened. Like, everyone's fine. We're okay. Can we just move past? Like, I love you. I love you, baby. But it's like this, like, my wife will kind of like freak out when something happens, like if somebody cuts me off while driving or something like that. Like, it's out of my control or whatever, but it's just like, it happened. Like, us talking about it isn't gonna do anything. Like, let's just move past this. Like, it happened. Like, yes, I'll be safer.
Don't dwell on it.
Yeah, like, it's just like, it is what it is. For you, like I said, like, probably just be like, hey, are you okay? I'm so sorry. Like, I would just recommend be careful. Like, this is a common jump. A lot of people are gonna be jumping this today or something along those lines. But it's like, nobody needs to be mad right now. Like, everyone's fine. No one's got hurt. There's no anger that needs to be had. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why people blow things out of proportion like that.
I also don't understand putting the blame all on one person, because like, people in the comments want to be like, that's your fault, Buckhouse. You're 100% at fault. It's like, that person was snowboarding and not looking at what was going on around them. They were oblivious to their surroundings. Like, that's not okay. If you are on a board and you are going fast or going into areas, you need to know what's going on around you. 360 degree, like, what's going on in my world. Because if you're just snowboarding around like tunnel vision, you're one of the most dangerous people on the mountain. You need to know what's going on around you, how many people are around you, what's going on behind you. You need to know all of that to be a safe snowboarder or skier on the mountain. I do not believe in this, like, the person lower has the ultimate right away, and anything that happens just because they were like 6 inches lower, it means that they were the ones in the right. It's like, no, that's not how that works. Not at all.
Well, so something I see, and I think that's, I watched that video, so I think that this is what I'm referring to, is they were like looking kind of like at you, being like, what is that? And like still riding in the direction of your landing. And it's like, people
knew who I was after because if you listen very closely on the clip, after all that happens, the girl's boyfriend and me is like, F you, Buckhouse, F you, you suck, F you, Buckhouse, and was like screaming. It's like, you know who I am, you know who Cody is, because he started yelling at Cody. It's like, what did you think was happening?
Yeah, you just think
there,
that,
but like you think Cody's just standing there with the camera, like filming me, and now I posted the vertical version on the 16:9, the wide angle. You see what happens is they hit a side hit, which they're out there hitting side hits too, so it's so hypocritical to be mad at me for hitting a side hit. But so they hit a side hit, and then the dude sits down. So Cody thinks like they're now gonna sit. So Cody gives me the tap like, hey, the coast is clear. They were the only people that were gonna be coming. And he turns for me, and the side hit that I was hitting is massive.
Oh,
and I needed a lot of speed for it. Yeah, I went like 30 feet, like on the one that I landed. So I'm cooking from above, and it just takes a long time to get down there. So between the time of Cody going, hey dude, you're good, and then waiting for me to come, the dude stands up, and then they just like meander over into the landing zone area. Happens. It's like, could Cody have done a better job? Yes. Could I have not put Cody in a situation to have to scope my landing on this insanely large side hit that one, I mean, everyone was hitting it that day too, which is the other funny part is people like, how dare you, Buckhouse? It's like, there was 100 people hitting the specific side hit underneath the chairlift. There's no way anyone on the mountain that day was riding and not being like, that's a zone where people are jumping. It might as well have just been the jump for the day, if that makes sense. So, once again, it just comes down to, and it was in such a unique spot of the mountain where it's like, this isn't a run. This is like, in Europe, they would call it off piste or like a side cut or there's just this, I don't know. It is a funny situation in the sense that like Cody had some at fault, they had some at fault, I had some at fault because I wanted to go massive, absurdly massive compared to the average skier or snowboarder. So everyone learned something from that situation. But people were like, why would you even post this on the internet? You're just making yourself look bad. And I'm the type of person like, I'm going to post this because there's a lot for everyone to learn in this situation. And so like in my little text or, in the description or whatever, that's what I wrote. I was like, hey, like, make sure you always have your head on the swivel, checking out what's going on. Like we could have spotted better. Like everyone had something to learn from this situation, but like, check this out. This is wild. I almost decapitated somebody.
Yeah. Survival of the fittest, bro. Let it happen. No, I'm joking. It is funny. It's like it. Did you? Yeah, like you said, like everyone had something to learn, and it's not saying that it's just their fault, but it's like no, it's genuinely. If somebody doesn't use common sense, like you're saying, like this is everyone was jumping that day. Everyone knew what that was going on. There's a cameraman set up. You know who the cameraman is happening. You should know what's happening. Like just common sense. You should know what's happening. And like, then you get mad when you put yourself in a bad situation. Like, I don't feel bad for them. I don't.
It was funny though, because the girl was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, in the video, I'm like, it's fine. Like I'm just happy you're fine. And then her boyfriend's like right next to her being like, F you, Buckhouse. I hate you. Buckhouse. Buckhouse. And so like at some point I'm like, it's funny because people call me out for saying this in the video. I'm like, yo, dude, like chill out. Accidents almost happen all the time. Like you need to chill. So we gave him like 2 runs to chill out, and then I went up, not to him but to her, and I just double checked. I was like, hey, are you okay? I'm really sorry about that situation. Like, like I'm just happy nothing did happen. And then she tried to like clap back with what her boyfriend was saying, and I was like, no, like that you didn't see me coming, like it just was an accident, like we're all fine, like, but if you go back to that zone, be aware.
We don't need to dwell on this. And then she flew past it.
Yeah, and then she was like, I could see how you didn't see me though, because I've started hitting the jump like that now too. I'm like, what? It's funny.
I find it funny with like when the boyfriend or just like guys in general like have to jump to conclusions. Like they just have to jump to like aggressiveness because they like are trying to be that protective person and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, you do need to have a certain level of like protectivity, but it's like, dude, just be a human. Like, why are we being so mad? Like, why are we mad at each other right now? Like, let's just take a chill pill. Like, let's just talk this through. Like, I don't know.
Now I might be a hypocrite because no one's hit Roman yet, and people have gotten way close though. But no one's hit Roman yet, and also no one's hit Bristol yet. And I feel like Bristol will be a whole different category for me. I don't know how I'm gonna react in a situation like that. So I could be a hypocrite, but it's like, dude, if nothing happens, it's just like, hey, dude, like, just stay away from kids. Then, dude, kids are little people magnets, man. I'm out on the mountain with Roman and his little shred crew. Like Roman's got a group of like 5 other kids that he rides with that are like teeny boppers, but they rip. And people just want to come, like, get as close as they can. It's like, I got to see this, but like not from like 40 yards away. I got to be 5 feet from this kid. It's like, get away from him. What's wrong with you? Give him space. He can't make confident or predictable turns. Like, get away from the kids. Like,
I've always tried to avoid children on the mountain the best I can. Like, I just try to keep my distance away from them the best I can. Just just for both of us. I don't want to put myself in a situation where I accidentally hit them, or I don't want to put them in a situation where they kind of get scared. They're like, oh, I'm in this guy's way, and they like feel the need to get out of my way. I'm like, no, like you're fine, right? It's like I've always tried to avoid kids or just unexperienced people on the mountain, but there's just something about beginner riders that like go against the motion that I'm going. Like there's so many times where like I'm already on like the side of the mountain, and then like a kid just progressively creeps closer and closer to me, and I'm like, I'm running out of space. Like I can't just like I have the cliff or this kid. Those are my two options. Like which one am I choosing? And it's like I know that it's hard to see. The kid. I know it's hard to see, especially behind you. I know like I'm not expecting them to know where I'm at all times. But it is like, dude, you were just on the left side of the mountain and I'm on the right side of the mountain. We have our distance. We are good to go. But then you made your way all the way across, and now you're on the right side of the mountain where I'm at. Like, and I'm stuck here because I'm like, do I slow down and lose my pace, and now I got to hike the rest of this path, or like it's just a mess.
Nothing's perfect. You gotta go with the flows. But the other thing that's funny too is like, so we have these kids on the mountain, and we want them to learn to snowboard. So like, I want Roman to kick to the lift on his own. We're about at the point where Roman needs to start sitting on the chairlift by himself and getting off by himself. Very basic snowboard stuff where yes, he's small, he looks like he's struggling because he is struggling, but he needs to struggle, because if I do it for him, he won't learn. But then you have these like single, like the chairlift, you have the single line, like some dude will come join our chairlift and then like try to help Roman to the lift, and I'm like, hey man, just like leave him alone. Like don't touch him, like let him figure it out. And like it's nice because you see human nature in the sense of like, someone sees a smaller person looking like they need help, I must help, I want to help, you see that. But at the same time, it's like, no, you got to let them struggle. But Roman has like his little group of friends are like really good shredders, and so it's always funny when I see people trying to help those kids who don't need any help. Like they have now hit the point of like, they're better than probably like 70 to like 80% of the people on the mountain in general, and people are trying to help them. I'm like, he's a better rider than you, like don't, just leave him alone. Like don't touch him.
There's this, I don't even know if you know this character, Ron Swanson. He's on like Parks and Rec,
yeah.
But there's this famous meme of him where he walks into a like Home Depot, like, do you need any assistance? And he goes, I know more than you, and just continues walking.
I know more than you.
And it's like that's those kids. They're just like, I know more than you. Leave me alone.
Don't touch me. Life is so funny, man. That's what I always come down to. Like, life has got its quirks, its moments, and like, as different as everybody is, so many people are the same. And I think we talked about that in one of the episodes, but like that Kyle kid that drinks monsters and drives monsters, like it's so true, man. Like I've seen that same backpack speaker snowboard kid for the last 15 years, even though it's not the same dude, but it's the same dude.
I see them elsewhere, bro. So what Jonathan's referring to, if you guys do not know, there's people that just have speakers like attached to their backpacks, and they're blaring the most obnoxious music on the mountain. It's like, those are the people that I do find problems with, because I'm like, nobody wants to like you're affecting other people's experiences. If you're just affecting your own experience, I don't care. You're affecting other people. Like, I don't want to hear that crap. Like, I don't. It's annoying. It's weird, especially when they pull up to you while you're like strapping in. You're like, really? Like, you got
or recording a YouTube video.
Oh, dude, that's
you're
so
standing
terrible.
on the side of cameras are like little kids. People just want to get close to it and see what's going on. And so I'm on the side of a run filming an educational video, trying to help other people get better at snowboarding. Mr. Backpack Guy has got to know what I'm doing. Comes rolling over playing copyrighted music. It's like, get away from me.
Well, so, like I said,
situational awareness. Do not see me.
I'm seeing it elsewhere though. When I went to Chicago's Comic-Con, there was a guy walking around with a boombox, bro. like not a old fashioned like real boombox, but like a fake boombox, and he had it on his shoulder, blaring music. And I'm like, nobody wants to listen to this. Like you are not cool. Like, just like, I know that you think that people are like looking at you because you're, oh my goodness, what is he doing? But like, no, they're like, what is he doing? Like, stop.
Well, Cody said this 2 days ago at A Basin, because like it was a Saturday, and people are, girls have always done the swimsuit shredding or whatever, but nowadays you see a lot of dudes like in just Speedos or crazy costumes or blaring music. And Cody was just like, I'm so over this look at me, attention seeking world we live in. I was like, dang, that's a good way to put it. You have all these people on the ski resort demanding attention. They just want people to look at them in real life. And like, I've always looked at it as in the sense of like, people have their identity. Like, to me, it's like there's these guys that are like, oh, every weekend I go snowboard and I wear this Speedo and I hold this backpack speaker, and like that's my identity. That's where I find myself being cool. I want the attention from people around me. I want people to chirp at me and say something goofy. And it is in a way hypocritical, because I make content, and that day specifically I was filming with the Apple Pro Vision goggles, VR goggles, on the ski resort, because they look like ski goggles. And so like I was filming an attention getting video for YouTube, and a lot of people were chirping at me, but I didn't really want anyone to talk to me when I was on the mountain. I just had them out there. So, you know, in a way it's somewhat hypocritical, because I make a living by getting attention and making content, but I prefer to make content that helps people get better at shredding. And we'll occasionally do the goofy videos like snowboarding with the Apple Pro Vision, but like it's hard in this world now, especially because of social media. The amount of people that just like, look at me, give me attention. Like, this is I don't know.
So I know what you're saying, and I don't have the words to explain it, but it's like, there's the people that just search for attention, like that, give me attention. And then there are the social media people. And yes, they do sometimes go hand in hand. But for me, like, I don't do social media so people are like stroking my ego or anything like that. Like, I do social media because I thoroughly enjoy creating. Like, I really like making a really cool video, and that's how I express my creativity and things like that. But also, it's a way for me to connect with people. And like I said, my why is like, I want to help a younger generation grow and have a better influence in their life, especially people that don't have influences in their life, right? People that don't have dads and things like that. Like, I would like to be a good influence on people. That's why I do what I want to, like, that's why I do what I do. I don't do it because I want to get that attention. So it's weird how it's like I 100% know what you're saying, where it's like people just, there's those attention like seekers. And dude, I'm complimenting myself here, but it's like, I'm so good at not giving it to them, like just ignoring them. Like, people will dress funny at the mall or something, and like try to, like, you can like, we'll make eye contact or whatever, and they'll like, you can tell they want me to say something, and I just like, what's up, dude? Like, I treat them like they're the most normal person, and you can tell it kind of like bothers them. And it's like, no, I don't, like, I'm not just here to give you I don't know. People are weird, dude. People are weird.
Feed your ego. Well, I mean, you were there when we started the channel, because we literally started it together. Like, the point of what we did was never to get attention. It was like, hey, let's just make videos together as brothers. And then for me, you know, what I do when I look at like, what do I do? Like, I love snowboarding, and I love making snowboard videos, because it's, as a snowboarder, it just goes, any action sport, it goes hand in hand. If you skateboard, if you snowboard, you want to record the scariest moment of your life, and like the putting together of your fear and the talent that you've been stacking and trying to get better at, and collecting that clip, you know, getting that moment of like, oh, I landed that thing that I might never land again. And so then you take that, you put it into video form, and you can share it with other people. You can always go back and reflect on that. But like, I just love snowboarding, and I want to be the best snowboarder that I could be. And then through that process of making content, it allows me to do that. And then I love snowboarding so much that I want more people to do it. And so if I can help other people get into the sport, safely, learn tricks safely, not get hurt. Because what happens is people get hurt snowboarding, and then that's why they stop snowboarding. So I've figured out a way to get better at snowboarding pretty consistently without getting absolutely wrecked. So I'm going to share my method with people so they can get really rad at snowboarding. The sad world we live into is occasionally I got to dress up as the Grinch and get a really viral video to just feed this operation, because things cost money. And so like you got to do some attention getting videos, but that's not the purpose. It's not what I am trying to do. And even when I am costumed up or anything like that, none of my content involves the reactions of others. I hate content of getting others' reactions. It bugs me so bad.
Yeah. I'm just gonna finish up this one, and then we'll close up the podcast. But yeah, it's like you're not dressing up as the Grinch just to go on the mountain as the Grinch. You're dressing up as the Grinch to create content that is relevant for your channel. Yeah. It's creative, but also it's like that as a social media person, like it's your job to do that, right? Like there's actually a purpose. But like that's not something you used to do. Before YouTube, you weren't just going up to the mountain just as the Grinch. It's like, you're not doing it for the attention. You're doing it because like that's your job. So it is what it is. But I do believe that this is a great time to wrap up the podcast. Once again, this is episode 11, guys. We are past that threshold. That threshold we've been talking about for a couple weeks now, that like most podcasts fail after the 10th. We are past that. So that means we are the most successful podcast in the world. We are number 1. If you are not subscribed, you are missing out. Comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Do you have anything to say, bro?
I think we can end the podcast forever because we did it.
Yeah, we did it. We were successful. We did it.
I'm highly enjoying this podcast, guys. Even like this one was very video gaming at the very beginning and then very snowboarding at the end. This podcast isn't about either of that. And then once the football season starts up, I'm sure, because we both love football, we will talk sports. Like whatever we feel in life is what we're going to talk about. We're two brothers, and this is how we catch up. Is once a week we get on the phone together and record our conversation, not for attention, but to catch up and to hopefully inspire you guys too, because I don't know, I feel like some people need a little inspiration, or just to know that like someone that has accomplished something like myself is just a normal dude. And I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, we're enjoying the podcast. We hope that you guys are as well. We will see you guys next week with episode 12. We're excited for things to come, and we appreciate you guys. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.